My name is Maya Collins. I'm 31 years old. And for 6 years, I was the quiet backbone of my family. Money flowing like invisible plumbing through the house. The kind you don't notice until the water stops. I showed up that afternoon with a pecan pie still warm under foil, the kitchen smelling like cardamom and lemon cleaner. Lena didn't even lift her eyes from the frothy cappuccino. She insists tastes different when you swirl the cup clockwise. "Why are you even here?" she said, flat as a countertop, then louder like there was a live studio audience. "Didn't you get the hint this year wasn't about you?" From the living room, Mama Lane laughed softly, the kind of laugh that says, "I didn't hear it. Therefore, it didn't happen." Dad muttered something about the game and the Wi-Fi buffering. The pie weighed more in my hands than it should have. It wasn't a new script. Lena has always been the lead, raised spotlight first. And I, despite being the older daughter, was blocking stage crew, props, sound, the one they called when the subscriptions failed. Or the car insurance was accidentally charged to the expired card, the one who just knows how to fix things. I set the pie on the counter. "Hi to you too," I said gently. No point arguing with a person who loves the echo of her own voice. Lena curled a strand of hair behind her ear. Performative poise. "Maya, you weren't on the guest list." She grinned at me, a sugar-coated blade. "We're doing a smaller thing for Dad this year. Intimate." I studied her face, then Mom's calculation flickering behind mascara. I realized with a softness that came from somewhere deep that I didn't have to audition anymore. I didn't slam the pie into the trash. I didn't fling witty barbs. I looked at this kitchen. The spice drawer I reorganized in August because Mom couldn't find cumin. The Bluetooth speaker I bought so Dad could play Sinatra. The island we refinished together before they decided Maya's taste is too clean. I smoothed the foil over the pie like tucking in a child. "Okay," I said, one word light as a leaf. I walked out. Not dramatic, just steady like a tide that decided to turn. The front door closed the way a door closes when it's been used 1,000 times. Familiar final. In the car, my hands shook. Not from anger, not even from humiliation, but from clarity. I watched their house through the windshield. That pleasant beige box filled with all the versions of me they prefer. The fixer, the thunder, the quiet one who leaves before dessert so Lena can hold court. For years I believed love was service. I thought being needed meant being wanted. My phone pinged 15 minutes later. From Dad. "Hey, Netflix login's not working. Can you check it?" "Game's on." From Lena. "Grocery delivery got canceled." "The hell? I need oat milk for Mom's dessert." From Mom. "Honey, Amazon says payment failed for my order. Something up with your card." I let the notifications layer like snowfall. Then I opened my password manager. The truth is, I never meant to become their private infrastructure. It happened in tiny emergencies. "Just use your card and I'll send it back." They almost never did. Hulu, Netflix, HBO, Uber, DoorDash, Prime, the shared family calendar, cloud storage, Dad's tax software, Mom's boutique shipping label account, a rotating bouquet of free trials that became household essentials. Every payment skimmed quietly off the top of my freedom. You can love people and still be erased by them. It happens when gratitude becomes theater and entitlement becomes tradition. I changed the passwords, removed the cards, revoked the family calendar. It felt like unhooking IV lines from a sleeping patient who mistook me for oxygen. My phone rang. "Lena," I answered. Let the quiet stretch. "What is this?" she hissed. "Are you seriously canceling things?" "That's petty, Maya." I pictured the pie cooling on the counter like a witness. "Is anything I'm doing a surprise?" I asked. "You told me I wasn't wanted." "It's not about wanting you," she snapped. "It's about God. Why do you make everything about you?" "This is Dad's day." "I agree," I said. "Enjoy it." I hung up. I don't think I ever realized how much of my fatigue was the weight of arguments that never ended. They just spiraled like dishwater finding the same drain. David texted then as if he could sense the pressure drop. "David, how's the visit?" "Me, short. David, proud of you already. Pizza later. I smiled at the screen. David is quiet bravery, disguised as a man who never rushes anyone. When we first started dating, he said, "People confuse control for stability. Real steadiness," he told me, "isn't someone holding you in place. It's someone standing beside you while you move." Another barrage broke across my phone. "Mom, Maya, please don't be dramatic. Your sister meant nothing by it. Can you put the Netflix back? Your father's blood pressure. Dad, just fix the Wi-Fi. Maya, don't punish everybody because of some tone thing." A cousin chimed in out of nowhere. "Cousin Luke, hey, you okay? Your mom said you came by uninvited and started yelling." And there it was, the spin cycle starting already. I could practically hear Elaine's voice. Soft, reasonable, bereaved. Maya's sensitive. "We never know what mood we'll get. We just want peace." Peace in my family always meant silence. "Mine," I typed. I didn't yell, then paused. That was the trap. Defend yourself, and the lie becomes the center. I put the phone face down on the passenger seat and watched clouds drift behind power lines. Memory is a cruel editor. It cut to a place I try not to go. 13 years old. Lena smearing lip gloss in the mirror while Mom said almost tenderly, "Honey, your sister just takes up less space. You could try that?" I learned to fold myself. Origami girl, useful, unobtrusive wallet at first. By late afternoon, the family group chat lit up like a tree. Lena, unbelievable. She canceled everything. Who does that, Dad? A little money. And she thinks she's queen of the world. Mom, let's not do this here. Maya, sweetheart, please be reasonable. This is family. Family? The word hit me wrong. It sounded like a password they changed without telling me. I took a breath and for once didn't overthink it. In the extended family chat, the one with uncles, cousins, the aunt who keeps forwarding chain prayers, I wrote, "I came over with a homemade pie. I was told this year wasn't about me." I left quietly. For 6 years, I've funded and maintained most of the household subscriptions and deliveries. Today, I turn them off. I won't be shamed for establishing a boundary. That's all. I didn't attach the spreadsheet with line items. 6 years of I got it, and don't worry that no one worried about. I didn't include the screenshot of the $20,280 laptop overnighted to Dad last April so he could finish taxes, or the boutique flight Mom took to Miami on my Southwest points, or Lena's $3,000 credit card bill I paid when she cried over a mistake purchase that turned out to be a chaotic NFT. Truth travels slower than rumor, but it lands harder. Within minutes, Cousin Sarah called. I had no idea," she said. Her voice trembled with something I hadn't heard in a long time. Respect. "Are you safe?" "I am," I said, surprised to hear it and find it true. When I hung up, another message blinked in. "Mom again. This is why we never let you handle things. You always make it about yourself." I stared at the sentence until it stopped blurring. The key word wasn't yourself. It was let. As if I was a volunteer granted the privilege of servitude. As if generosity required permission from the people devouring it. I scrolled back to David. "Me. How do you feel about pecan pie and a movie with no login required?" "David, I'll bring the wine. You bring the peace." On the drive home, the radio caught a crackling old standard Dad used to hum out of tune. I turned it down and rolled the window an inch. The air smelled like rain. I thought about the pie. Maybe I'd eat it on my balcony, one clean slice at a time. The way you learn to take up space when no one else will make room. My phone buzzed one more time. Unknown number. I let it go to voicemail. I had the feeling it was the first of many. When it finished recording, the notification sat there like an unopened door. I didn't press play. The sky was graying when I pulled into my apartment lot. The kind of gray that feels like a clean slate rather than a storm. For years, I believed I owed them the scaffolding of my life. What I really owed was myself. A home where love wasn't collateral, where silence wasn't demanded, where the word family didn't sound like a receipt. Inside, I set the pie on my own counter. The foil crinkled like a sigh. I cut a slice And for the first time in months, I ate something without multitasking, without reaching for my phone to pre-authorize a charge, without rehearsing apologies that kept everyone else comfortable. It was quiet, not empty. Outside, thunder rolled somewhere far off, as if the world were clearing its throat before saying something true. The next morning, I woke up to 72 notifications, messages, missed calls, and a few reactions from cousins I hadn't heard from in months. My apartment was quiet, sunlight spilling across the unmade sheets, but the digital noise felt like someone pounding on my front door. My mother had already done her press tour. According to her, I had shown up uninvited, screamed at everyone, and stormed out when asked to calm down. Lena added flavor to the tale. Maya's been unstable lately. She gets angry over nothing. She needs help. That was their rhythm. Mom crafted the narrative. Lena staged the drama. Dad nodded along until it sounded like truth. I scrolled through the messages in silence. One from Aunt Rhonda said, "We all lose our temper sometimes, dear. Just apologize before things go too far." Apologize for what? For leaving before they could humiliate me further. For cutting the wires that kept them comfortable. For once, I didn't defend myself. I brewed coffee instead. The cheap kind that doesn't require frothing or pretense. The smell was grounding, almost defiant. But the quiet didn't last. My cousin Luke called, his voice halfway between gossip and worry. "Maya, what the hell happened? Your mom said you were screaming about money." I took a breath. "Did she tell you why?" "No, just that you've been tense lately." I smiled into the phone, not with amusement but recognition. "She means less obedient. Don't worry, Luke." I didn't yell. I didn't throw anything. I just left. "Okay, but everyone's confused," he said. "You know how Aunt Elaine is with words." "Yeah," I interrupted softly. "I know exactly how she is with words." After we hung up, I sat for a long time on the edge of the couch, scrolling through old bank statements. It wasn't about proving a point. It was about reminding myself that my memory hadn't invented the years of financial caretaking. Netflix, Hulu, Apple ID, DoorDash, Prime, airline points, groceries on autopay. The list was endless. I'd paid those bills in quiet increments, like slipping pieces of myself into envelopes I'd never get back. And yet somehow they had turned me into the villain. I opened the family group chat, watched the messages roll in. "Lena, you're acting like a psycho who cancels everything right before Dad's birthday." "Dad, Maya, enough with the drama. Grow up. You're not in high school." "Mom, honey, we're worried about you." This obsession with boundaries is unhealthy. Boundaries to them, the word sounded like rebellion. I could have fought back with logic, laid out the facts, the receipts, the 6 years of unpaid support. But logic never works against people who thrive on distortion. So I waited. That evening, I posted a single message to our extended family chat, the one that included cousins, aunts, even a few in-laws I barely knew. I came over with a pie. I was mocked in front of my parents. I left without a word. I canceled the services I'd been paying for quietly for 6 years. That's all that happened. I'll let you decide what that says about me. No commentary, no anger, just truth. Then I turned off notifications and went for a walk. The air had that late autumn chill that tastes like metal. I passed couples walking dogs, kids on scooters, the scent of wood smoke curling up from balconies. Ordinary life, the kind that never existed in our house, where every gesture was measured against how it made Lena shine brighter. My phone buzzed again. David. Still breathing. Me barely, but yes. "David, good. Don't let them write your story. Silence is power, but truth spoken calmly is nuclear." I smiled. He always said things that hit somewhere deeper than comfort. When I got home, I saw the fallout starting. Messages from cousins who'd read my text. "Sarah, you were paying for all that. That's insane. Uncle Mike, didn't realize how much you've done. Proud of you for finally setting a line." The shift was small but seismic. My family story wasn't airtight anymore. That night, Lena called. I let it ring twice before answering. "Do you feel better now?" she started, voice trembling with fury, dragging our private stuff into the family chat. "You made us look ridiculous." "Did I lie?" I asked. "Of course you lied. You left out everything that matters." "Like what?" "That you only ever did things to feel superior. You never helped from the heart. You liked holding power over us." Her words stung because there was a sliver of truth. I had wanted to be needed. It was the only way they let me exist. But wanting connection isn't the same as craving control. I didn't argue. I just said, maybe. But at least I paid for my own peace. Her voice dropped low. "You'll regret this, Maya. You think you're so untouchable with your stupid boundaries. But people talk. They always do." "I'm counting on it," I said and hung up. Minutes later, Mom sent a voice note. Her tone was syrupy, fragile. "Sweetheart, we love you, but you've humiliated your sister. You know she's been struggling. This isn't how family treats each other." I played it twice, then deleted it. My family loved to twist accountability into cruelty. If I drew a line, I was selfish. If they crossed it, I was ungrateful for their love. I opened my laptop and created a new folder, Proof. Inside it, I dropped screenshots of every transaction. Credit card statements, PayPal transfers, airline receipts, subscription logs, 6 years of invisible generosity, no captions, just numbers. Then I sat back and stared at the title of the folder glowing on my screen. Proof. The irony wasn't lost on me. I didn't need proof for them. I needed it for myself to remember that it happened, that I wasn't crazy, that I wasn't the unstable daughter they were painting in their private theater. By midnight, the chat had gone eerily quiet. For them, silence was never surrender. It was strategy. They were regrouping, waiting to rewrite the next chapter. I should have been anxious. Instead, I felt a strange calm, like standing in the eye of a storm. I knew the second act of their performance was coming. They would always choose the lie that kept them comfortable over the truth that made them look small. But I was done being their scapegoat. David texted again before I went to bed. "David, want to come over tomorrow? I'll make breakfast." "Me? You cook?" "David?" "No, but I make great coffee. The kind that doesn't require anyone else's card." I laughed. For the first time that week, it didn't feel forced. I set my phone on silent and crawled under the blanket. The city hummed outside, a reminder that life went on, indifferent and honest. As I drifted toward sleep, I thought about how every villain needs a hero to make their story work. They'd chosen their villain. I'd chosen to stop playing the role. 2 days later, the silence finally broke. Not from Mom or Lena, from Aunt Rhonda's lunch table, where gossip flows faster than wine. I wasn't there, of course. I hadn't been invited to a family meal in over a year, unless someone's Wi-Fi failed or an account renewal came due. But my cousin Sarah called me afterward, her voice trembling. "Maya," she said, "you need to hear this. Lena told everyone you threatened her. She said you showed up high, started yelling, and scared Mom half to death." I almost laughed. "High? I barely drink coffee." "She's going too far," Sarah said. And then she said something else. Her tone shifted, and for a second I thought the line had cut out. "What did she say?" I asked. Sarah hesitated. She said, "We took her in when no one else wanted her." The room around me blurred. That one sentence sliced deeper than any rumor. "I'm their daughter," I said softly, more to myself than to Sarah. "Their only biological one." "I know," she said. Everyone froze. Even Uncle Mike looked like he'd been slapped. Lena tried to backtrack, but it was too late. People heard it. I sat on the floor, cross-legged, my phone pressed to my ear. My apartment was so quiet I could hear the faint ticking of the wall clock, every second sounding like a past memory I'd tried to bury. "She meant it," I whispered. "She's always meant it." There was a pause. "Maya," Sarah said, "you need to start protecting yourself. I think they're spiraling." When we hung up, I opened my laptop again and pulled up the proof folder. I added a new one, receipts. Every Venmo note, every don't tell dad, he'll freak, every small bailout dressed as favor. Scrolling through them was like watching a time lapse of my own eraser. At 15, I paid Lena's dance costume fees with babysitting money. At 22, I covered Mom's hotel booking when her boutique trip went over budget. At 26, I sent Dad a new laptop overnight so he could meet a tax deadline. At 29, I bailed Lena out of a crypto mess she called an investment. And at 31, when I brought a pie to dinner, they told me I wasn't invited. The math finally made sense. That evening, I got a text from Dad. "You need to apologize to your mother. She's been crying for days. Lena's shaken up." This is getting ugly, as if it hadn't already been rotting for years. I didn't reply. Instead, I opened a voice note from Mom that came an hour later. Her tone was half sigh, half script. "Sweetheart, families fight. But this public exposure, it's humiliating. We've always done our best for you. Maybe not perfect, but from love in you. You always twist it. You always have." She let the silence hang, then ended with a sentence that burned like acid. "This is why we never let you handle things. You make everything about yourself." That wasn't new. I'd heard versions of it since I was a kid. It's what she said when I cried about Lena taking my allowance. What she said when I wanted to apply for college out of state. What she said when I told her I was exhausted from helping all the time. The script never changed, only the setting. I forwarded the voice note to Sarah. She responded instantly. "Sarah, keep everything. Every message, every receipt." Later that night, my phone buzzed again. A number I didn't recognize. Unknown. "They're telling people you're dangerous, that you're mentally unwell." I stared at it for a while. Then another message came. Unknown. "It's Eric, Lena's ex. I think you should see something." Eric had always been polite at family gatherings. Quiet, apologetic in that way people are when they've dated someone unkind, and only realize it too late. We met for coffee at a small cafe near my apartment. He slid a flash drive across the table like he was passing contraband. "You might want this," he said. "Recordings, texts from when we were together. I couldn't listen to them back then, but you should." On the drive home, my hands were trembling so badly I nearly dropped my keys. When I opened the first audio file, Lena's voice filled my headphones, sharp and smug. "If she ever turns on us, we bury her." Mom's laughter followed. "Please, she's too soft for that. We just have to make her sound crazy first. People will believe it." My stomach turned. It wasn't paranoia, it was prophecy. I spent the next few hours saving every recording, labeling each one with dates and context. By midnight, I'd sent copies to my lawyer. David sat beside me, silent, his hand covering mine. He didn't say, "I told you so." He just whispered, "You're doing the right thing." I nodded, though my throat burned. It's not even about revenge anymore. I just want them to stop rewriting me. The next morning, I woke up to a new kind of quiet. Not peace, not calm. The stillness that comes before something breaks. Sure enough, an email from Mom waited in my inbox. The subject line read, "You've done enough damage." Her words were venom wrapped in sentimentality. "Your father's health is suffering. Lena's fragile. You've embarrassed us in front of everyone who matters. This is what we get for letting you feel important." That sentence stayed with me all day. Letting you feel important. It confirmed what I'd always suspected. My place in this family wasn't earned. It was permitted. I was allowed to help as long as I stayed small. But I wasn't small anymore. That evening, I called my lawyer. "They've crossed a line," I said simply. "I want to move forward. Defamation. Loan fraud. Emotional harassment. Whatever could be done, we do it legally. Quietly. Thoroughly. I didn't tell Mom or Dad or Lena. I didn't even tell Sarah right away. For once I wanted silence to be mine. Not the kind they forced, but the kind that comes when you've already said everything that matters. When I turned off the lights that night, the apartment felt different. Not lonely, just mine. For 3 days I didn't hear a word. No texts, no voicemails, no angry paragraphs about how I'd ruined the family image. The silence felt wrong, too deliberate. David noticed before I said anything. "They're regrouping," he said one night while washing dishes at my place. His tone wasn't casual. It was calm, analytical, like someone who'd seen this kind of manipulation before. He was right. The storm came the next morning. A letter slid under my apartment door, handwritten, familiar cursive looping across the envelope. "Mom?" I didn't even have to open it to know what it said, but I did anyway. "Maya, your behavior has been heartbreaking. We raised you better than this. You've turned family matters into public spectacle. Your father is beside himself. Lena hasn't eaten in days. You are destroying us. Please stop before you do something you'll regret. We love you, but you need help. Love you, but you need help." It was their favorite line. The first half gave them virtue. The second gave them power. I folded the letter neatly and placed it in the proof folder. Then, as if the universe wanted to emphasize the point, my phone buzzed with an email notification. Subject: Loan delinquency notice $10,000. Name on file Maya Collins. I froze. The email included scanned documents with my digital signature, except I'd never seen them before. My stomach dropped. Lena's name appeared as the secondary applicant. She had taken out a loan in my name. I sent it to my lawyer immediately. Then I called the credit bureau. The representative's voice was polite but clinical. "Miss Collins, this account was opened 3 months ago. You were listed as co-signer." I laughed bitterly. Of course I was. By noon, my lawyer confirmed it was fraud. "We'll handle this quietly," he said, "but don't contact them directly anymore. They'll twist anything you say." David took the rest of the day off work and came over. He brought coffee and a calmness I couldn't find myself. "They forged your signature?" he asked. "Perfectly," I said, showing him the PDF, down to the curl in the R. He shook his head. "They don't even want money anymore. They want control." That night, I got another message from an unknown number. "Unknown? I'm sorry. This has gone too far." Then another unknown. "It's Claire. Can we talk?" Claire Donovan, David's ex-girlfriend. They dated years before I met him, and from what I'd heard, she'd stayed loosely connected to my family through Lena's circle. I hesitated, then agreed to meet at a quiet cafe downtown. Claire showed up in oversized sunglasses and a trench coat like she'd stepped out of a spy movie. Her hands trembled as she slid a small USB drive across the table. "I know you have no reason to trust me," she said, "but I need to show you what Lena's been saying to everyone." I frowned. "Why would you help me?" "Because I believed her once," she said, voice cracking, "and I know what it's like to be rewritten by her lies." When I got home, I plugged in the USB. There were audio recordings, screenshots, voice notes, some between Lena and Mom, others with Dad joining in. The first one made my blood run cold. "Lena, she's getting bold. If Maya turns on us, we have to get ahead of it. Mom, of course, will just say she's unstable. She's got that anxiety thing, right? Lena, perfect. I'll tell people she threatened me. Dad can say she was acting manic." Dad's voice faint. "That'll protect us." I sat there staring at the waveform bouncing across my screen, heart hammering. This wasn't family conflict. This was a coordinated smear campaign. The second recording was worse. Mom laughing. "She's always trying to feel important. Let her pay for things. We can always say she wanted to." I felt something inside me fracture, not from shock, but from confirmation. They'd never loved me unconditionally. They'd loved the version of me that funded their comfort. David read my face before I could speak. "What did they do?" I handed him my laptop. He listened, silent, jaw tightening. "You send these to your lawyer?" "I'm about to." He reached over, squeezed my hand. "You're doing the right thing. You're not crazy. You're not dramatic. You're protecting yourself." When I hit send, it felt like flipping a final switch. The next day, Sarah called, voice shaking. "What did you do?" Mom's losing it. She's saying you fabricated recordings. I told her the truth. They're real and I'm done. Later that night, my mother called from a blocked number. I answered out of instinct. Maya, she hissed, her voice sharp now, stripped of its sweetness. You've gone too far. We're cutting ties. Don't come crawling back when you realize what you've done. Then she hung up. I stared at my reflection in the window, city lights flickering across my face. For the first time in my life, their downing didn't feel like loss. It felt like release. A few hours later, I got a notification from social media. Lena had posted a photo of her and our parents smiling in the backyard. The caption read, "Some people destroy families to feel powerful, but love always wins." Within minutes, cousin Sarah commented before or after she paid your rent 3 times. Luke added a screenshot of a $2,800 transfer. Lena deleted the post within the hour, but the internet never forgets. The next morning, my lawyer called. Good news. They've agreed to settle the loan quietly. No public trial. No apology? I asked. He chuckled softly. Of course not. People like that never say sorry. They just try to outlast the truth. I exhaled slowly. Then I'll let silence finish the conversation. That evening, David and I watched the sun dip behind the city skyline. The air smelled like rain and burnt coffee, oddly comforting. He handed me a glass of wine. You okay? Not yet, I said. But I will be. Because for once, the quiet wasn't imposed. It was mine. The week after the settlement, the world felt almost too still. No more blocked calls, no more long emails laced with guilt. Just quiet. A quiet that used to terrify me, but now sounded like air returning to my lungs. I walked through my apartment barefoot, the light spilling across the floor, half expecting my phone to ring again. It didn't. My lawyer emailed the final document confirming the fraudulent loan was closed, repayment nullified, case sealed. No apology, no accountability, just a legal agreement, cold and dry. That was how my family loved too. Contractual, not emotional. Later that night, David found me sitting on the balcony with a blanket around my shoulders and my laptop open. The proof folder was still there. All the screenshots, receipts, audio files, and messages that had once defined my family. I hovered over delete. Do it, he said softly. I clicked once, twice, gone. It didn't feel like eraser. It felt like unclenching. 2 days later, Sarah called again. You won't believe this, she said. Lena made a private Facebook group called Family First, Healing from Narcissistic Abuse. I laughed out loud. Let me guess, I'm the narcissist. Worse, Sarah said. She wrote a post calling you a manipulative liar who fabricated documents and hacked her email. And Mom commented, we always knew Maya had something wrong with her. You can't fix someone who enjoys breaking things. I leaned back in my chair, the laughter catching in my throat. It didn't even sting anymore. It was absurd. Don't worry, Sarah said. Half the relatives are rolling their eyes. Luke already shared a photo of the 2 of them at a luxury spa last week with the caption, Healing looks expensive. For a second, I imagined the chaos in that group chat. Their frantic need to rebuild the story after losing control of mine. Then I realized something new. I didn't need to win. I just needed to walk away. A few days later, an envelope arrived. No return address, but I knew the handwriting. Dad's this time. Maya, whatever lies you're telling need to stop. You humiliated this family. You owe us more than this. You are no longer one of us. I folded the letter once and dropped it in the trash. No tears, no shaking, just peace. Because for the first time I understood. I never was one of them, not in the way that mattered. A real family doesn't mock your generosity in secret and call you ungrateful in public. A real family doesn't plan to destroy you for saying no. They had loved the version of me that served their comfort. The moment I stopped serving, they called it betrayal. That night, I messaged the few relatives who'd stayed kind through all of it. Sarah, Luke, Uncle Mike, I'm stepping away. If you ever need me, I'll be here. But I'm done pretending blood means belonging. No one argued. No one tried to talk me out of it. They just said, we understand. The next morning, I blocked every number. Mom's, Dad's, Lena's, changed my email, updated passwords, new phone plan. The only people who had my contact now were David, Sarah, Luke, and my lawyer. And then came the quiet. Not the heavy, suffocating silence I grew up in. This was different. Clean, honest. The kind that doesn't demand anything of you. On my birthday a week later, I woke up to sunlight and birds outside my window. No fake text, no guilt-tripped calls. Just the kind of emptiness that felt like freedom. David showed up with flowers and 2 cups of coffee. You survived the storm, he said, smiling. I smirked. Barely counts, he said. We spent the day hiking through the hills just outside the city. No schedule, no interruptions. At sunset, we sat on a rock ledge, sharing cold pizza and wine from a thermos. He looked at me for a long moment. Do you ever think you'll talk to them again? I thought about it. About the versions of me they'd invented. The girl who never complained. The provider who didn't exist unless she was useful. No, I said finally. Some stories don't need a sequel. When we got home, I cut a single slice of pecan pie, the same recipe I'd brought to their house that day. I placed it on my own plate, poured a glass of red wine, and sat in the quiet. That pie didn't taste like guilt anymore. It tasted like closure. People always ask if I regret it. Walking away from family, from the people who raised me. I tell them this. You don't fix poison. You don't live in ruins. You walk away. They sent their message loud and cruel. You're no lie.